you are listening to an album and the creator of the album, let's say, if it's a Jay-Z or it's a Beyonce, and they were really thinking of the color gold as they, did it, or let's say it's Pharrell because we know he has synesthesia and he sees colors when he does music. Maybe he's thinking of the color gold, and your AI knows the lights in your house. Wouldn't it be amazing if, as the song played, your AI switched the colors in your house to match the song, to match the experience? So you're experiencing what the artist intended, and you can stream that with your friends and be like, yo, I'm listening to the purple sound right now, and it's amazing. And that's something that Arghon can do. Hello and welcome to another episode of Exploring AI with Arghon. I'm Lauren Brown, Arghon's Chief Creative Officer, here with
Collie Brown, Arghon's CEO and founder.
And today we're going to talk to you about music. How does artificial intelligence affect the music industry and what you need to know to be ready? All right, so let's get into the first question. How does Arghon deal with the music industry?
So when we designed Arghon, music is a big part of people's entertainment. And so we made sure that Arghon had the capability to give audio and video. That is, you can stream stuff in Arghon. So our approach was, people have their own channels or their own music. For example, they may have the music on their device.
Yeah.
Or they may have it even up at one of the streaming services.
Like Tidal or
Tidal,
Spotify
and so forth, yes. And so really it's about giving them access to their information, to their music.
Yeah.
And so the ideal thing is to partner with, obviously, these companies so that the transition is seamless.
Yeah, so it would be something like let's say if Tidal were to connect to Arghon, then the users in Arghon have access to their entire favorites, playlist and things like that within Tidal. Mm-hmm. Okay, how will AI affect the music business, generally speaking?
So the music business, over the last 20 years, there's a lot of changes that have taken place. Mm-hmm. And one of the problems with the music industry is that they were late to the table.
Yeah.
So technology companies came in, Apple, for example, and essentially got a stranglehold or a significant hold on the music scene.
Yeah.
Through streaming and so on and so forth.
Individual sales and all that.
A lot of music now is consumed through streaming.
Yeah.
But a lot of the artists eventually they actually make their money from other things, including tours and things like that. Mm-hmm. So, in terms of the competition now in the music space, if you have the same set of music, so let's say your Tidal and your Spotify. Mm-hmm. Right, or your Apple Music, you need something else to differentiate you.
Yeah.
And you can try price, but eventually people are gonna,
find a way around it.
They're gonna match you. They're gonna match you in price. So that's not enough to do that. So what you do is you try to, have exclusive deals with particular artists, and that is actually a good thing, but it's not enough.
You can't have a deal with every single person making music. I mean,
exactly, and
there's a bunch of SoundCloud artists who are amazing, and you'd have to snatch those up first too.
Exactly, and the other problem there is that let's say you have an exclusive deal with two of the people I listen to, two of my favorite musicians, but let's say another.
A third one is on some other service.
Some of the platforms. What do?
Yeah.
I find myself in a weird situation here because I want to consume both sets of artists. Mm-hmm. So in terms of the music business, differentiating yourself, artificial intelligence brings a lot of new things to the table.
Yeah.
So if you were, for example, Tidal, you're a smaller label than, let's say, Spotify. You're smaller in terms of size. But what you really want to do is differentiate yourself from them. And right now, music is consumed in what we call 2D, two-dimensional. That is, you stream it and you listen, right? And then you have the ability to do a little bit of lookup. You might get a little bit of information about the artist. Well, what artificial intelligence is going to do is to give you so much more access.
Yeah.
Give the listener so much more access about the song that's playing. Mm-hmm. They can ask and interact with it in real time.
Are you talking about things like One of the amazing features that we've discussed, and will be fleshed out, I'm sure, at later points, and this might not be the video for it, but just being able to actually go on a deeper dive into what inspired some of the music or where certain things were made, and for a user to not just have the experience of the listening passively, but to be a part of the experience of the art that is music.
Yes, that's exactly what we're saying. That's exactly so you really want your listener to be active part of that. That means that they need to know all the information in terms of the inspiration as well. About how the song came about, and the history of it. That information need to be readily accessible to the user at the same time they're playing the song, so that it's a deeper, more immersive experience. And that is a significant way you differentiate yourself. So artificial intelligence is big in that, because what it has is has full access to the artist and to the song itself. And so whichever streaming service gets to this thing first is going to have a significant advantage over the other ones. And so if you're a small label, you really want to differentiate yourself from these big guys. And the other thing I'm going to say is people are fickle. Consumers are fickle. If a small label comes with a powerful service that is, tearing up the market, so to speak, it's so different from it, a much richer experience. People have no problem abandoning the shop and jumping on board. If you're cool,
they want you.
If you're cool, they want you. So, that's what it's going to do. I mean, some of the things it's going to do. So,
you've kind of talked a little bit about it, but just to ask this question, what effect will artificial intelligence have on the music streaming business?
So the music streaming business now is, I'm going to say it's really, as I mentioned, one and a half dimension. I'm just going to give it a half because you can, some of these streaming services have that tiny little bit of information that comes down with it. That's not nearly enough. If you want a truly immersive experience, you want much more information. You want background information. You actually want to feel like you were part of this whole thing, right? Or at least you're so immersed in it that you know all about it. And that's not happening right now. So the music business itself, when the music business transitioned from LPs and just
the hard copy
to streaming, a lot of
the experience was lost.
A lot exactly, because what happened was there was a whole experience about going to the store, getting the labels, and if you had certain LPs and stuff like there's a whole rich experience that disappeared. It wasn't because people didn't like it,
It was just that now the consumption had shifted, so there was that same room to do it didn't exist. If I may say something, you bring up a really excellent point. When I was looking something up related to, essentially it's a film about a rock and roll artist, Mercury, who had these amazing concerts, and you know how they say never read the YouTube comments? Well, I read the YouTube comments, and a lot of the commentary was, you don't have that same experience with music anymore, where you are having this communal, everybody in the same place experience, and the specialness of it, because outside of that experience you can't get that. If you're listening to it, it's the record, on your record player, it's the CD, but that's still solitary. And people go to concerts now and they get an amazing experience, but I think too you have phones and different things where you stream the experience, so you might have seen that sparkly costume already, but there is a whole avenue, a whole opportunity when it comes to streaming that can become an experience in and of itself, with AI. Because an AI, because it knows you and it knows your environment, it can actually create, imagine an artist being able to do something, and I won't go into further detail on this because I know some of this stuff is proprietary, but imagine, for example, you are listening to an album and the creator of the album, let's say, if it's a Jay-Z or it's a Beyonce, and they were really thinking of the color gold as they, did it, or let's say it's Pharrell, because we know he has synesthesia and he sees colors when he does music. Maybe he's thinking of the color gold, and your AI knows the lights in your house. Wouldn't it be amazing if, as the song played, your AI switched the colors in your house to match the song, to match the experience. So you're experiencing what the artist intended, and you can stream that with your friends and be like, yo, I'm listening to the purple sound right now, and it's amazing. And that's something that Arghon can do. That when we talk about streaming and we talk about artificial intelligence, a lot of companies are not in that place right now. So
right.
When we say the effect that AI will have on music streaming, it isn't just the streaming business itself and making your songs accessible. It's that we're making your songs now an experience, a new plane in which you can have a communal experience with artificial intelligence and with the streaming playlists. You know.
Yeah, that is you know, for the uninitiated.
And I'm not just saying that. You're right.
That's real. No, that's exactly right. If you consume music by just listening, and oftentimes people consume music by themselves, you really are leaving a whole lot of things on the table. And what people want is a richer experience. And you know, as a streaming service, you really are going to, the battle is going to be who can give a three-dimensional, and when I say three-dimensional music,
go into that a little bit.
Well, by three-dimensional music, I mean that experience that you just talked about in terms of understanding the background to the song. It's not, when you stream a song, you get a stream of bits and bytes coming over, and you're
hearing it.
Yeah, you're hearing it as a song, but there are tons of other information, like you said, the inspiration behind the song itself, the mood. There's so many things that
can be pulled out
and brought in, along with the music itself.
Yeah.
So that the experience for the listener is much richer.
Yeah.
The other part of that is, what if the user wants to interact with the music? How would you do that now?
So now, if I'm a listener and I hear you say something about interact with the music, what does that mean? Because that sounds intriguing.
Right. So what happens is, what the AI will in this case Arghon would allow you to do is to tie the song itself, all the moods that you described earlier, and all that's happening around the song. So for example, let's say that artist is going to be in a particular town, right? The ability for the user to know that they're going to be in that town and that you can go there and be part of that thing.
Yeah.
That makes the whole thing richer. Even if you don't take advantage of it, the fact that you know you can because it's there changes the experience for you.
Yeah.
So that's what we call three-dimensional sound. You're attacking it from three different angles.
Yeah,
and not the one and a half you have
from that
now, or one and a
experience
quarter.
of just the song and the convenience of getting the song when and wherever, to the getting the deeper information, to being able to actually in real time as the artist communicate to the user, here is the place and the space of this sound. And the user goes, oh wow, I now have listened to Bohemian Rhapsody, or I have listened to Watch the Throne, and it's in a completely different space because it's more than just the documentary they released to me. I'm kind of experiencing the documentary in a sense. So this is going to kind of tie into the next question we have, which is, how can artists leverage AI to generate more value for their customers?
So when you stream songs, and that's again how most songs are consumed, right? It's streamed to your device, and the person has their headphone on and they listen to the song itself.
Yeah, they're on the subway.
They're on the subway, they're on the train, they're in a car, whatever it is. They're consuming it pretty much by themselves. Well, with the art and what the artist does. So once you release the song to the label, to the public itself, to the streaming service, you're kind of like out of the picture. For the most part. Well, what the AI is going to do is the AI is going to be able to bring you back into the picture. Because if somebody wanted to know what was the inspiration behind the song, that information can come straight to the artist. The artist has a whole, lot of information about the song itself, the inspiration to the song, who collaborated on the song, how how they feel. One of the things, if you ever listen to live music and you see there's a jam session where they're playing songs,
and solo guitar,
you notice that the artists are, the different players are musicians are feeding off each other, right? Sometimes also the mood of the whole room or the mood of the concert takes on a life of its own.
Yeah.
None of that is communicated right now with the place, with a song.
With the stream.
Yeah, all you get is just that song itself, and that's that. So the artist, people want to know more about the artist. They really want to, they want the artist to be their friend.
Yeah.
And what AI gives you is the ability to bridge that gap.
Yeah.
And that's a huge thing.
So I wanted to ask you a little something now that you kind of bring up an interesting point related to, once it's released, the artist is essentially kind of forced to wait for, essentially, you'll have a lot of live streams or not live streams, but a Twitter conversation where people will hashtag about the album to ask an artist, and then there'll be a camera pointed at their face while they explain, here's what I meant behind this and here's what I meant behind that. And while that serves a great purpose, it doesn't have the same 24/7 access that is now, de rigueur, or now just the norm of social media and entertainment. So essentially, with an AI as part of the offering and the experience of streaming, what you're getting is a far more in-depth, connection to the artist.
Exactly.
And it's in depth in a way that isn't mediated by, okay, if you contact me on this forum, then I will see it, and if I see it, then I'll respond. Right. I'm in your home the way your AI is in your home. And that is an intimacy that, I know some fan people are going to lose their minds, because it's going to take that whole experience of fandom to the next level. And if you are the streaming service that is offering that level of intimate fandom, you are gaining a loyalty that goes beyond what even seems possible.
Right.
Right?
That's for a lot of, if you.
And which streaming service doesn't want to have all those extra fans
exactly.
be on their service?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right now, so when an artist compiles, they create a song and they're gonna actually release it to the labels or onto the streaming services. What they're really releasing is really just the song itself, and maybe a tiny little bit of information. Mm-hmm. All of that's going to change. The whole process of releasing the song is going to encompass all the information about the song itself, the inspiration, the place where it was done, the mood, the effect it should have on people, the artist's impression of what it should feel like to somebody, to somebody listening to the song itself. Mm-hmm. All of that becomes part of the music itself, part of the song. That's not, and you need an AI, because you don't want to pile all of that information to a user. Mm-hmm. The user, when they need to consume it, when they feel inspired, it should be available to them right then and there. And if you're asking them to go to a website, to go type up and search and all that stuff, that's outdated. That's just not practical, right? What we're talking about here is a much richer experience. And the bond that will come from that is, just imagine for a second.
That's like soulmate level music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine for a second that, let's say you have a favorite artist. Mm-hmm. Just give me an artist. Pick an artist.
I'll throw out Jay-Z because.
All right, Jay-Z. All right. So let's say Jay-Z is your favorite artist. Mm-hmm. All right. One thing, when Jay-Z is sitting down with his team to create the song, he's been inspired. It comes from some inspiration that he has. Yeah. And it might be something that has happened to him, something that he has observed, or a whole bunch of different things, right? Yeah. He's having a conversation with the team itself in terms of what tracks we're going to use, how the track is supposed to sound, and all of that stuff. Mm-hmm. Imagine as an artist, as a consumer, you were in on that conversation. You're actually sitting out there as a fly on the wall listening to all of that. How would you feel when the song is done? You'd feel like,
yeah, I was on this journey too. I did it,
exactly.
You feel proud.
Exactly.
And you blast it even more so.
Exactly. And so that is what we're talking about. Yeah. So in this case, that would set Jay-Z apart. You put him in another stratosphere.
How do you fight people though who would say they already get that when they Snapchat a little thing from the studio?
No one is gonna Snapchat anything, that is beyond what Jay-Z would, being part of the actual crew. No one is going to be able to.
What do you mean by no one is going to?
So think of it this way. So when you Snapchat, that's secondary, tertiary information. Mm-hmm. What we're talking about here is in this case, Jay-Z actually sharing his experience, the collaborative experience with the user, mm-hmm. with the consumer in this case. Mm-hmm. Everything else is like secondary, tertiary, so you cannot get that experience anywhere else.
Yeah.
I mean, he has to share that.
Yeah.
You can't get that anywhere else. And so what we're saying is, artificial intelligence is going to open up that world, and that's going to eventually become the standard. Yeah. But whoever gets there first will have a significant advantage over.
They will be the originals, and they will have made history.
They would have made history.
It's a history-making move to bring the AI into your music and into what is streamed, and
exactly.
And you're essentially revolutionizing the relationship between artists and the label. The places that they release music, and the fans.
Yeah, right now, as I mentioned earlier, very earlier, in the old days when people used to go into the store and they pick up the LPs, that was a whole experience. And when you walked into the store and you saw other people, leafing through the different albums and so forth, mm-hmm. that was a really social experience. That's gone.
Yeah,
that's gone. You can just, with a press of a button, download a song and exactly.
All million, billion music.
Exactly. But I want to jump back to something real quick.
Okay.
What that is, in addition to that, what it's going to do is when you're the first to do something, you set the standard, right? Mm-hmm. But you also have a certain level of commitment, cachet. It translates into money. When you are offering something so much more advanced than everybody else around you, mm-hmm. You're going to take their market share. Mm-hmm. And to the extent that you can get there faster than them and have a good amount of time all by yourself in that area, no music streaming service is infallible. Yeah. No music streaming service can afford to not have an experience like this. Mm-hmm. You'll lose your shirt in a very short time if you don't do that.
Yeah.
So it really boils down to the company, the streaming service,
yeah.
the artist who embrace this new technology, and for a lot of artists, they're not really technical people in that sense. They're not AI folk. So that's where they would talk to us about, this experience. You can reach out to us online and
yeah, there will be stuff in the information box for you,
right.
for you to contact us.
Yeah, because we are seeing it from a technical vantage point, and as I mentioned before, that is what happened to the music business. While they were busy, trying to fight off streaming, which remember.
The record labels were like, it's just we don't want streaming.
They were suing the
LimeWire, Napster, everybody was getting in trouble.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They completely missed this big juggernaut that was coming. Yeah. So, it can happen to them again. Yeah. It can literally happen to them again.
The thing is also, as things advance, they advance faster each time.
Correct.
So, while Spotify and Pandora and Tidal and all of these services have ground now, there is no guarantee of ground even 5 years from now.
The changes are going to be so profound that the label that gets this technology and has it implemented correctly will have such an advantage over the other ones that you can take a smaller label, let's say you take Tidal. I don't see any reason why you can't pass Spotify. If you provide the thing that's so profoundly different, that's the experience that's so much richer, I see no reason why it can't supersede.
Yeah, because everyone's always looking for value for money. They're saying if I have to, if I'm going to pay any kind of price for the service or even free, I want to know that I'm getting something beyond.
And it's bragging rights too.
Yeah, of
also
course.
Like, listen,
AI is one giant brag,
Yeah, for consumers who can access this thing when their friends are using the original and they're using this new advanced thing, they're gonna be like, hey, what are you doing? You need to come on over.
And I think too that there's so much to this that you definitely get in conversation with us. If you're watching this and you're going, listen, I'm connected to streaming, whether you are the head honcho or you are 3,000 feet from the head honcho, but you're in the company, bring this to your superiors. They will want to hear about this. They're going to want to know about this because AI is coming. It's inevitable. And the impact that it's going to have on the music industry and streaming in general, it's going to knock socks off, blow off bootstraps, and you want to be the one who's ready for it. All right, let's go to the next question. Concerts are a large part of the revenue base for artists. How is AI going to affect this?
Directly. It's going to directly affect it because as an artist, you know, and you're making a lot of money from the tours now, you want to cram a stadium. In fact, frankly, you want to pick a stadium that can seat, let's say, 30,000 and double that or triple that, right? You want more people.
Yeah.
The more people you can put into a stadium, the more money you make.
Yeah.
What artificial intelligence will give the consumer, the fan, is access to the artist like never before. And it's really interactive. We have a thing in Arghon. We're just gonna call it
yeah, I know what you're gonna say. I'm excited for this.
Yeah, it's called the virtual artist, where there's a virtual version of somebody. Like we used the example of Jay-Z just earlier, but we could actually have a virtual version of Jay-Z.
Virtual Beyonce.
Virtual Beyonce, where you can literally, it's part of the whole immersive experience we talk about, where you can literally, you're asking Jay-Z what he thinks about.
And I mean, talk about immortality.
Yes, of course. So that's, you know, that kind of a capability is a powerful thing.
Yeah.
And that's going to make the consumers, the fans, the people who go to your concerts.
Yeah.
You're giving them way more access.
Yeah.
And you know, it's not as expensive. In fact, frankly, it's not expensive because what you're going to gain, it's actually frankly worth it.
Yeah.
Again, we know that a lot of artists are not technologists, and we don't just sell you a technology and walk away. That's not how it works. You come with your artist sensibility, and we make that work in AI. We know how to make things work in AI. You know what sells and how you want to present yourself, what your fans are like, and so we make that happen. We actually sit down, collaborate, and make that happen. But that virtual version of anybody, you know, whether it's Beyonce, Jay-Z, or
you know, BTS or Shawn Mendes or
exactly. Yeah. That's a differentiator, and only we are the only ones who have that. So it's not something you're gonna find somewhere else. You can look, you ain't gonna find it.
Yeah, and what's cool is knowing that you just are tipping the iceberg. Like you're just literally seeing the tiny peak of the iceberg as far as what's available. Because there's some stuff that I've been conversations and things that I've been a part of that I'm listening, and I basically jump out of my chair and run around the room. And while I'm an extroverted person, that's an extreme reaction even from me, having grown up with this. So definitely hop on the AI train for your entertainment, for your streaming. All right, so the last question we have here is, should music streaming companies have their own AI?
Not really. The answer is no, because it's first of all, if you see our other video about who should invest in AI, you'll see why we say not really. But the short version of it here is, it's very expensive to build. It's technology. It's outside their experience, their domain knowledge. And by the time if they were to do it, even a massive label like Sony, if they were to do it, it'll be, the time to get it to market is going to be very expensive and long. Yeah. And while you're doing that, others will partner. Be
gaining ground.
Yes, others will partner with people like us and are taking advantage of it. It's about who gets to the market first. Any business will tell you that if you have a product or a service that's superior and you get to the market first, you're going to have a significant advantage over the other one. Yeah. So what they should do is reach out to people like us, reach out to us specifically.
Reach out to Arghon, ARGHON.com.
Right, and have a conversation. Let's talk about, where you want to take your business. We'll talk about where the technology is going, and then you can take advantage. Work to make sure that you can take advantage of the technology. Yeah. And come out with not just, technology can make your company cool. It can be a differentiating factor. Yeah. People pay more money for a particular phone, a brand of phone, because it's considered to be a cool phone. Yeah. Right? It's considered to be a must-have item. Well,
a status symbol.
A status symbol or whatever it is, and in some countries it's probably very expensive. You could get into trouble if you put one down. The point is, when you have technology, advanced technology like this, and you're the first to do it, the PR you get from that, the cool factor, that's why I'm saying to you that no matter how big a streaming service is, if you're a smaller streaming service, for example, and you come out with that revolutionary, offering, you can tip the balance.
Yeah.
In a matter of 3-4 years. Because the one thing we know about consumers, and especially consumers like that, the same song on Tidal is the same song on Spotify, Apple Music. It's the same song.
Yeah.
It's the differentiator, the things that we're talking about, that's going to make the difference. And obviously price does make a difference, but at the end of the day, it's not really so much price, it's really the things that come along with it. So if somebody can get access, when they're listening to a song, they can get access to your artist like never before, in an extreme version of that, that's powerful.
Yeah.
That's seriously powerful. And that can tip the balance and make the difference. And you can watch your investment triple, quintuple, market share increase. People want cool things. And if you give it to them, and you are the first to give it to them, they will reward you.
No, well said. Well said. Thank you, Collie, so much for your responses on what is it going to be like for streaming companies to get into the AI space. And for all of you streaming companies out there, don't hesitate to reach out to us at arghon.com. That's ARGHON. Look in the description box below for our contact emails. You can follow us on social media. All of our handles are ARGHONAI. And we're here for you. We're here to listen. We're here to create, new and innovative experiences and make your company the best thing on the market, unlike anybody else. Make music an experience and make it a 24/7 connection to your fans, to the audiences, to your consumers out there. This is going to be a great thing for your business. Alrighty, so don't forget to subscribe to this channel and click the notification button so you can see our updates every Tuesday and Thursday. Alrighty, thank you so much. See you in our next video. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Subscribe to this channel where weekly we'll explore what it means to connect to your world through artificial intelligence. And to be part of the Arghon journey, follow us on social media.